All right, it's your boy OP, and today I'm gonna talk about Dragon Ball Super. Now, I usually watch Dragon Ball Super every Sundays, but I didn't watch episode 22, and I didn't watch episode 23 those past Sundays that came. But I did just watched it about 15 minutes ago of Dragon Ball Super. I finally had the time to sit there and watch Dragon Ball Super, and it was pretty good, decent show. Tegoma came up and he told all of them to come at him at the same time if they want. And then Piccolo stepped up and said he will fight him. Then Tegoma called them weaklings and said he would crush them under 3 minutes. And Piccolo said, "Don't underestimate me." And then Piccolo punched Tigoma in the face, and it didn't fade him. All of a sudden, Tigoma ripped off Piccolo's arm, and he punched and kicked Piccolo, and then he was about to go for the finish, and then all of a sudden, Gohan jumped in and saved the day. Um, Piccolo was worn the fuck out. I mean, you can just see sweat and everything coming down from Piccolo's face. Even though Tigoma ripped off Piccolo's arm and punched him and kicked him a few times, Piccolo was out of breath, and Gohan had to give him a fucking senso bean. And I'm like, damn, boy. Like, you know what? It's sad that Piccolo has become nothing more than a jobber. He's become nothing more than a jobber. He has. Here's a guy that that was very, very intimidating. Always trained and stuff like that. I don't even think Piccolo trained as hard like he used to, though. But it was just sad, though. I mean, that Piccolo has just become nothing but a jobber now in Dragon Ball Super. But yes, Gohan gave him a sensu bean, and I kind of shook my head and I said, "Fuck, man, Piccolo needs to step his game up." But yes, Gohan gave him a sensu bean, and Tigoma was very impressive. He was very impressive at first. He was doing pretty good because he told them that he's the guy that took Frieza's beating as he was training as his training partner every single day. Also, he said that he can withstand. He withstand him for about 4 months. So he was trying to say that his body is like steel and stuff like that. When Tigoma said that his body was like steel, I said, "Uh oh, we might have another Superman here, Man of Steel right here." And then Gotenks came in and knocked Tigoma out of the way. Gotenks came in and saved the day, though, which it was pretty funny, though. Gotenks came in and knocked Tigoma and stuff like that. And I was just sitting here thinking again. I said, "Wow, man, this makes Piccolo look very bad, man." Two kids came in and did harm to Tigoma, but when Piccolo punched Tigoma in the face, it didn't fade him, but it faded him when two kids that did fusion faded him. It damaged him a little bit. And I said, this makes Piccolo look very bad. It makes Piccolo look like a weakling in this one. And then Tigoma was laying flat on the ground, and all of a sudden, Captain Ginyu came into the picture, and he was writing. He was writing on the ground, and Tigoma says change, and then Captain Ginyu changed body with Tigoma. Now, I don't see what was the point of bringing Captain Ginyu back, because I was never really a Captain Ginyu fan. I never really acknowledged Captain Ginyu like that, but I was never really a big fan of Captain Ginyu. But Captain Ginyu came back and switched body with Tagoma, and I'm like, what was the point of bringing this guy back? So Captain Ginyu comes back in and tell Frieza how much pain and suffering he was, and because Frieza didn't know who he was at first. Frieza didn't know. Frieza thought he died on Namek, and Captain Ginyu was sitting there explaining to Frieza, I've been in this frog body this whole time, miserable and all that stuff like that. So basically Captain Ginyu was just basically just I don't know, just basically just whining like a little bitch and stuff like that to Frieza. You know, he went up against he went up against Gohan, you know, and stuff like that. And then Gohan went as a Super Saiyan and easily beat Captain Ginyu. Captain Ginyu just easily got beaten. But you know, I don't even see what was the point of bringing Captain Ginyu back, because you know when Captain Ginyu gets inside people's body, you know, he doesn't know how the body works. You know, it would at least probably take him maybe a month or something to master the person's body. So Captain Ginyu inside Tagoma's body, you know, he couldn't really figure it out. You know what I'm saying? It would take him a while to figure it out though. But yes, Gohan went as a Super Saiyan and easily beat Captain Ginyu. And then as soon as Gohan defeated Captain Ginyu, that's when Frieza decided to jump in and was shooting lasers at Gohan, I believe, you know, making Gohan suffer. And right about when he was getting ready to kill Gohan, all of a sudden, Piccolo jumped in and actually got killed. From what they say, Piccolo actually got killed. You know, a little bit of old school Dragon Ball Z. You know, you guys remember on Earth when Nappa was about to go for the finish blow and Piccolo came in and saved Gohan. Piccolo jumped in and saved Gohan, and he actually got killed. It was a little bit shocking there. I would think Piccolo would do that to Gohan as Gohan's a child, but Gohan is like basically like almost it's like an adult now, and he still does it though. But it was shocking to see Piccolo get killed like that. It was very shocking though. So apparently, you know, Piccolo being killed, I guess Toriyama doesn't really think too much of Piccolo now. But Gohan kind of felt down on himself, and he was saying that, you know, if he'd have kept training, you know, Piccolo would probably still be alive and he would be able to protect him. And I was saying to myself, yes, motherfucker, if you would have fucking trained like Goku and Vegeta has been doing, nobody on Earth would not be what they're in right now. Nobody would. So Gohan was feeling all down on himself. Goku and Vegeta was on the other planet training with, you know, on a different planet training, and that's when Gohan decided to transform. I don't know what Gohan was doing. I think he was trying to transform into a Super Saiyan 2 or whatever he was trying to do. Gohan was just powering up or doing something like that, and that's when Goku and was able to sense Gohan's power. He was able to sense Gohan's power. So Goku used instant transmission, went to Earth, and Frieza was about to go for the kill, and that's when Goku and Vegeta arrived, and Goku was able to dodge that laser attack that Frieza was about to do on Gohan, about to finish Gohan off. And then Vegeta killed Captain Ginyu. I was just sitting there laughing. I was like, yes, get rid of this scumbag. It wasn't even no point in bringing Captain Ginyu back. But I mean, it was good. I mean, in a way, it was kind of good to see Captain Ginyu back. You know, you would think that Captain Ginyu would have probably changed his ways, but evidently Captain Ginyu hasn't though. He hasn't changed his ways none bit. So, you know, but yes, Vegeta easily destroys Captain Ginyu, and then Goku told Vegeta that he would take Frieza. So Frieza transformed, and Frieza was like, aren't you going to go Super Saiyan? And Goku was like, nah, I don't need it. I don't need to turn Super Saiyan. So then it ended right there, though. But yes, Dragon Ball Super, so far, so good, though. You know, I didn't really suspect to see Piccolo die. The thing is about Gohan, maybe this right here is a hint that they might do something with Gohan, because Gohan felt so down. He felt so down. He felt so bad that he didn't train so much, and that Piccolo died. Because when Goku arrived, Goku did use instant transmission, and you know, he told Gohan and them that they'll use the Namek Dragon Balls and bring Piccolo back. But then Goku used instant transmissions and, you know, left them with Dende. But yes, back to Gohan. Gohan felt so bad and down that, you know, if he would have trained like Goku and Vegeta had, you know, Piccolo wouldn't have died like that though. So maybe this is a hint right here that they might do something with Gohan later on. This right here, I believe, might motivate Gohan to take things a little bit more serious. Not only protecting his friends and his family, but protecting everybody on Earth and start taking things a little bit more serious, though. So maybe this right here, maybe a hint that they might do something with Gohan later on in Dragon Ball Super. And for those out there who's read the manga, don't even leave a fucking comment and fucking tell me that yes, they did something with Gohan. Don't even fucking tell me. I don't want to know. I just want to remind you. Because I know some of you guys has read the manga. You guys already know what's going on. I don't want to know. So please don't tell me. Okay? I don't want to know. But I believe that they're going to do something with Gohan. And, hopefully they'll do something with Piccolo. Cause I was just shaking my head at Piccolo. I was just shaking my head at this guy, and I said, maybe Toriyama don't have no more ideas for Piccolo. Maybe Piccolo. Maybe they might do something with Piccolo. Maybe, like I said, Piccolo's death may motivate Gohan to take things a little bit more serious, and this may means that they might do something with Piccolo later on in Dragon Ball Super. They might, make Piccolo into a Super God Namek or something like that. They have to do something though. I don't suspect them to turn Gohan into a god. No, I don't suspect Gohan to be a god. I suspect Gohan to be a little bit more different. I don't want him to become a Super Saiyan god like Goku and Vegeta. Gohan needs to be utilized very different. Just like what he did back in the Majin Buu saga, when the old Kai made him into the ultimate Gohan. You know what I'm saying? Gohan needs to be utilized very different. He doesn't need to be a guy like Goku and Vegeta. He needs to become something different than a Super Saiyan God. Like they can make him just as strong as a Super Saiyan God, but just something different. You guys get what I'm saying. But that's all I wanted to say, though. It was a pretty good show. I'm looking forward for episode 24 on Dragon Ball Super to see how things is gonna switch up, because anything can happen though. Anything can happen on Dragon Ball Super. You would think that everything would go exactly just like the movie has, but you never know how this fight's gonna go down. You don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. For those who didn't read the Dragon Ball manga, you don't know what the hell's gonna go down between Goku and Frieza. Maybe Vegeta might be the guy to be the one to actually defeat Frieza. We don't know. I mean, I don't know. So I'm looking forward to this. Anything can fucking happen. But anyway, it's your boy OP. I'm out. Peace.